Hello friends, the IPO of Waaree Energies just closed yesterday, and based on the bids, I see only one of the 10 of us will get the shares allotted. And hence I thought of doing a video on the question that is running uppermost in our minds right now. Is it worth investing in Waaree Energies after the listing? Can Waaree Energies give good returns post-listing? Let's find out in this video. The grey market premium for the share is presently around 1550. That is more than 100% profits for the few lucky ones who get the IPO allotment. The listing date should see the stock priced at around rupees 3050 or so. Before we dive deep into this investment opportunity, let me do a short introduction of the firm. Waaree Energies, as you might know, is the largest solar module manufacturer in India. Just to help you realize how big they are more than 3 times bigger than their nearest competitor Adani Solar, which is the second largest solar module manufacturer here in India. The module capacity of Waaree is 13 gigawatts, while that of Adani Solar is just about 4 gigawatts as of now, and all others, a dozen or so other players, are 4 gigawatts or less. So that's the kind of market share and commanding presence that Waaree Energies has in the solar sector here in India. Waaree is also India's largest exporter of solar modules. In fact, they started out as an 100% exports unit way back in 2007, about 15 years ago. In those years, there was no market for locally manufactured solar modules, and everyone was just importing cheaper solar modules from China. Exports is still the major source of revenue for Waaree. In fact, in FY24, they had about 60% of their revenue coming from exports. They have 4 manufacturing plants in Gujarat, 1 in Noida, and they also have a plant coming up in Odisha. Their current solar module capacity is 13 gigawatts. This year, they're also getting into solar cell manufacturing. A 5.4 gigawatt solar cell manufacturing facility located in Gujarat will become operational in about 2 to 3 months from now. Also, they are building a fully backward integrated solar module manufacturing plant in Odisha. This plant will have an annual capacity of 6 gigawatts of solar modules, 6 gigawatts of solar cells, and 6 gigawatts each of wafers and ingots that act as components for the solar cells. This plant is planned to be operational in about 2 years from now. Waaree has also built a solar module and cell manufacturing plant in US in Houston, Texas. It will have an initial capacity of 1.6 gigawatts of solar modules. Trial runs have already started, and plant is expected to be operational in just about 6 to 8 weeks from now. Now that we know a little bit about this company, let us now understand the market opportunities that exist for the Indian solar module manufacturers like Waaree. We will try to estimate the size of this opportunity and see how Waaree, being the leader in the solar module manufacturing, is positioned to benefit in a big way from this. First, we will look at the growth driver in the domestic market. As many of us are aware, by 2030, India wants to have 500 gigawatts of its electricity needs to be met from the renewable energy sources like solar, wind, and hydroelectric projects. 150 gigawatts of renewables capacity has been accomplished already. Out of the remaining 350 gigawatts, 70% is expected to be solar. This means we need to have about 245 gigawatts of power coming from solar modules in the next 5 to 6 years. Factoring in the conversion of electricity from DC power generated by solar panels to AC, we need about 310 gigawatts of solar modules to be commissioned by 2030. In order to reach this goal, central government plans to raise tender for 50 gigawatt worth of renewable energy projects every year from now till 2030. This, of course, is just the portion that is coming from the central government. To this, we need to add those projects that could be initiated by the state governments, big commercial establishments, and institutions. Hence, it is estimated that every year we will have tenders issued for about 80 gigawatts of renewables till 2030. In fact, in FY24, we saw tenders floated for 69 gigawatts of renewables. The important point to note here is that government issued tenders now require locally manufactured modules to be used to execute these tenders. These are what are called the domestic content requirement, or DCR solar modules. You can't just procure solar panels from China and implement these projects. Waaree, being the firm which manufactures the largest number of solar modules here in India, obviously stands to benefit the most from the DCR condition imposed by the government. The other big growth driver is the PM KUSUM and PM Surya Ghar Yojana. While PM KUSUM scheme subsidizes solar pumps for the farmers, PM Surya Ghar Yojana offers big incentives for installing solar rooftops on our homes. About 1 crore households are being targeted as part of Surya Ghar Yojana, and about 5 lakh homes have already benefited from it. Hence, still we have about 95 lakh households to potentially opt for solar rooftops under this scheme. The great thing about these schemes is that, like the government issued tenders we talked earlier, the schemes come with the DCR clause. That is, to avail subsidies under the scheme, consumers are required to use domestically manufactured solar modules to power their solar pumps or their homes. Again, Waaree, being the number one player in the domestic solar module manufacturing, will be looking to make the most of this opportunity. In fact, Waaree has a wide sales network spread across the country with about 380 channel partners who talk to potential customers trying to sell Waaree solar panels. Waaree also markets its products through their own e-commerce website, and they are one of the top sellers on the e-commerce website Amazon and Flipkart. I think it will help you if I put a monetary value to the opportunity that exists in India. The domestic market for solar modules is currently at 2 lakh crore rupees per year. That's the amount of revenue that solar industry can earn if they meet all of the demand that exists here. To help you see how big this number actually is, let me tell you that this is 20 times the annual revenue of 11,000 odd crores reported by Waaree Energies as revenue in FY24. The other 10 to 12 major players in the solar sector are less than one-third their size, and hence nowhere close to meeting the demand for solar energy here in India. I hope you can now see the big demand-supply gap that exists here. Large part of this demand can only be filled by local solar module manufacturers like Waaree Energies. While 2 lakh crore rupees revenue per year is the size of the domestic market, the demand for solar energy globally is about 8 times bigger, estimated at around 16 to 17 lakh crores per year. Waaree Energies has been exporting solar modules for almost 15 years now, and hence it is a perfect candidate for utilizing the huge opportunity in the global solar sector. Last year alone, globally about 600 gigawatts of solar power capacity was added, reaching a total of 3,300 gigawatts of solar capacity in the world. This number of 3,300 gigawatts total capacity is growing by about 25 to 30% every year, which means every year nearly 700 to 900 gigawatts of solar capacity needs to be added. Solar energy is the cheapest, easiest, quickest, safest, cleanest source of energy with very low maintenance. Hence, like India, every country wants to be seen tapping into this cheap source of energy for cleaner air, to reduce their imports, to remove their dependence on the fossil fuels, including the oil. I can't repeat this enough. Waaree Energies is uniquely positioned to make the most of this opportunity, since they have been manufacturing and exporting solar modules for so long, more so than any other player here in India. They have all the experience, all the compliances, all the certifications, all the quality controls, conformances to the labor laws, adherence to environmental regulations and rules, all in place. Best of all, they have about 15 years of performance data for the solar modules which were built by them, which is out there in the field. They have records of all the quality metrics, quality checks done, servicing and maintenance done, the solar energy that is being generated over a period of time, all these years by their solar modules. This large performance database is one of the major criteria for any outside firm to choose Waaree over, say, another module manufacturer from India or China. In fact, in order to be an exports player, an Indian manufacturer needs a minimum of 3 years of such performance data. To appreciate better the big opportunity presented by the global solar market, take a look at this graph. Exports of solar cells and modules from India rose exponentially over the past 3 years. The exports in FY22 was just 112 million US dollars, which went up 10 times to reach $1,033 million US dollars or a billion US dollars in FY23. Then we saw it doubling to nearly 2 billion US dollars in FY24. The trend continues in this fiscal as well, with nearly half a billion US dollars of exports coming in quarter one alone. All this change did not happen by chance but is a deliberate strategy adopted by countries like US. This was largely driven by the post-COVID China Plus One strategy adopted by countries like US in the recent years. Note that 97% of these exports done in FY24 were to United States. US companies are increasingly looking at Indian manufacturers for their solar needs due to concerns about possible forced labor practices, flouting of environmental norms, lack of transparency in governance by the Chinese companies. The Inflation Reduction Act or IRA enacted by the US government in 2022 has only helped to accelerate this transition. Also, pricing wise, Indian manufacturers are next best bet after China. Okay, now that we covered both the domestic and global opportunities, let us now see how revenues and profits of Waaree Energies has shot up in last 3 years as these market opportunities opened up in those 3 years. Waaree's revenues have jumped from 2,874 crores in FY22 to 6,751 crores in FY23, which is more than double the previous year's revenue. In FY24, their revenue nearly doubled again to 11,398 crores. This is a staggering growth of 85% year over year in revenue. The profits have also seen similar growth of CAGR 55%. Their profit of 80 crores in FY22 zoomed to 500 crores in FY23 and then 1,274 crores in FY24. The margins have expanded as well. What was just 4% in FY22 has gone up to nearly 16% in FY25. The Waaree management expects the margins to stay at around 15 to 16% in the near term. But longer term though, the margins are expected to increase to 18 to 20% when the company starts utilizing in-house solar cells, ingots, wafers for their solar modules. Utilizing in-house components will help save the margins currently earned by the suppliers of cells, ingots and wafers for their current modules. The order book for Waaree Energies is currently at 16 gigawatts. Waaree management claims that they always had about 2 years worth orders, and with increased opportunity, they now get to choose their orders carefully based on margins, financial stability of the client, any potential delays in the contracts, etc. So not only customers get to choose their supplier, but in this case, the supplier company Waaree Energies can exercise their choice too when it comes to the contracts. Given the fact that Waaree caters to both domestic as well as international markets, getting orders should not be a concern in my opinion. Given these financial numbers of Waaree, let us now briefly look at their expansion plans and how that translates to future revenues for the firm. I hope this will be the most interesting part of this video. As I mentioned earlier, Waaree has been building additional capacity for some time now in modules, cells, wafers and ingots. The 5.4 gigawatts of solar cell plant will be ready for production in the next couple of months and should start generating revenue for the firm from the next fiscal year, which is FY26. The Odisha plant, with an additional capacity of 6 gigawatts of solar modules, 6 gigawatts of cells, 6 gigawatts of wafers and ingots each, will be ready in about 2 years' time according to the management. In the next 2 years, Waaree Energies should have the capacity for 21 gigawatts of solar modules, 11 gigawatts of solar cells, 6 gigawatts each of wafers and ingots that go into making of the solar cells. Based on my estimates, these capacity additions should fetch around 12,000 to 15,000 crores additional revenue for Waaree. Their current revenue is around 11,500 crores and hence Waaree should see their revenue more than double in the next 3 years. Also, if they utilize the cells, ingots, wafers internally to produce their solar modules, we may see better margins as well compared to what is seen now. The manufacturing plant in US of 1.6 gigawatts capacity will be operational in the next few weeks, and that should bring additional revenue as well. All in all, it looks like Waaree is well positioned to be the leader in the solar market here in India for the next few years. I wanted to talk more about their plans, how they mitigate risks and challenges like the technology change that happens every 5 to 6 years in the solar industry, and also talk about the Chinese dominance and how Waaree is handling that. But due to lack of time, I will jump straight to the valuation of the firm. If you need more information, please feel free to ask me in the comment section below. Coming to the valuation, let us look at the PE of the firm based on the earnings per share or EPS for FY24 and also the annualized EPS for FY25. The IPO was priced at an upper band of 1503 rupees, and since the grey market premium is around 1500 rupees, we will assume that the stock will be listed at rupees 3000 rupees per share. So based on the EPS of 47.86 rupees or nearly 48 rupees for FY24, the PE works out to be 31 for the IPO price of 1500 and 62 for the estimated listing price of 3000 rupees per share. The EPS for quarter 1 of fiscal year 2025 was 14.93 rupees. So based on this number, the annualized EPS for FY25 is 4 times this, which is 14.93 into 4, which is 60 rupees. So if you take 60 rupees as the EPS for FY25, the PE of the stock works out to be 25 for the IPO price and 50 for the expected listing price of rupees 3000. If you look at some of the peers of Waaree like Waaree Energies and Adani Green, the PE is around 200. The listed companies of Waaree Group themselves have a PE of around 100. Given this fact, Waaree Energies stock is attractively priced at around 60 based on its FY24 earnings. Honestly, soon Waaree Energies may also reach those insane valuation levels where the stock would be trading at a PE of around 150-200. Hence, I won't be surprised if the stock doubles in price quickly once it gets listed in the stock exchange. No doubt I'm planning to get my hands on this stock as soon as possible once it gets listed. Unless the market conditions change drastically, I expect a few days of heavy buying of this stock. So what do you think? Do you believe that this stock is headed for a bull run in the near term? Do let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more such videos in the future. Thanks for watching and have a great day.